My name is Anya Czerski with the ERP Software blog, and I'm talking today with Steve and Jamey from Vicinity Manufacturing, a very, very well-known name in our Microsoft Dynamics channel. So Microsoft Dynamics is a very, very strong product, but where do process manufacturers typically kind of run into limitations?
Yeah, we found with the typical Dynamics product, it's all more discrete manufacturing. Think like you're making a table, you're making a TV, a lot of batch processing, process manufacturing. You're making food, chemicals, brewery, something you can't undo. A lot of times they find in the base manufacturing in Dynamics that it's very limited. So a lot of times that's where we come into play, is where you can do your formulas, you can do your recipes in Vicinity, and that's where the production plays in. We do all the production in Vicinity, and that pushes into GP, BC, whatever. Pulls in there.
So what are some telltale signs that maybe someone has reached capacity with the base manufacturing features and needs more?
They would be usually talking in terms of formulas or recipes, and then they think in terms of batch processing instead of the work orders that's usually within Dynamics. So once they get to that threshold of saying, hey, we we think in terms of batch, and this work order discrete manufacturing solution doesn't work for us. So then that's whenever Vicinity can come in and help them out with regards to their batch processing.
Great. And you talk about Vicinity being the missing ingredient, no pun intended, for process manufacturing. What exactly does that mean for a Dynamics user?
Well, it's for their again for their manufacturing. So where we have I'm going to use it for a food company, your formula, your recipes. We bring that to the table where you've got a whole formula blog, a formula book where you've got everything that you're making, and where all of that production, where they can track everything, all the allergens, all the kosher status, whether it's, again, I'm talking in terms of a food company, but any company like a paint company, tracking a lot of variables of that manufacturing process that they can't as easily track within BC. It's easily tracked on our side. So we just add to that level of it. So we've seen a lot of clients before, they've been doing all that manufacturing in Excel, for example, because they couldn't do that easily in BC. That's where we come into play, being able to do that.
To fill those gaps.
Yeah, to fill those gaps, absolutely. I mean, you want, and it's tied directly. So you're doing your production in Vicinity, you're doing your formulation in Vicinity, and again, that processes and pushes seamlessly into the ERP to GP or BC. Whereas again, before, with the missing ingredient, where if they're in Excel, someone has to manually go in and track that it's not up to date. Accounting isn't happy that it's not being in real time. So that's where we come into play.
So there's a lot of ISVs in this space. How do you think your approach is different at Vicinity?
Well, our track record of 25 years in the industry, first customer was integrated in with Dynamics, and so obviously that's been our focus. We do fixed fee implementations, so right up front, a customer knows exactly what the project cost is. There's not any of the ambiguity with regards to time and material tracking and change orders, those types of things. And also being able to do remote implementations where we can focus on multiple customers during the process, and instead of having to go on site and you have to babysit us for 8 hours while we're there type of thing. So that's a huge thing, is the fixed fee and the remote implementations. And we've done it so many times, we can do the fixed fee implementations, and our implementation team has a ton of experience helping customers come to go live with our solutions.
So what if I'm a process manufacturer and I say, you know what, I just do not have time to overhaul my whole ERP system right now. I can't add one more thing. Mm-hmm. How would you respond to that?
Well, usually we'll try and figure out what could we do in pieces. So maybe they're not looking to overhaul their ERP. We can do Vicinity as a standalone. So we have a lot of clients that start off that way. Like, we're not looking to change the ERP, but we want something where we can track our recipes and track our production. We can do that within Vicinity and not tie that into the ERP. Obviously, there's a lot of benefits of doing that, but at least get a start there, so that they're starting to get their production team, acquainted with a different process that they might be doing things or tracking things to get. I'm going to go back to that. Instead of doing it in Excel, they've got it in a system, so they're starting to build that history of what I've done. Building various yield history analysis that they can start to do within that. So we piecemeal and then start to grow. Okay, once we add in production, let's start to add in our quality control functionality, which they can start to add for materials that they brought in, materials that they've made, production that gives them the whole outlook of the whole span of the production, and then maybe bring that in, tie that into the ERP if they wanted to.
So the integration story between
Yeah.
Dynamics and Vicinity, what would you say about that?
So it's really simple. I mean, it is just a flip of a switch on our side. Then what that means is that when you're doing your production, then that sends it over to the ERP. There's not a whole lot of change that has to be made within the ERP to accommodate that, which is great because for a lot of people that's a concern. Okay, hey, as I turn that switch on, what's that going to take? And really, I say I'm oversimplifying it by saying it's a simple thing, but it is. It's a switch on our end, little things that we do on the back end, but it's a really simple process. When we do integrate, then we're obviously looking at the ERP for your inventory. What's on hand? What are the costs? What are the lots? That's where that tie-in comes into play.
So I know I personally have spoken with several of your clients who have wonderful things to say about the efficiencies that you've
Yeah.
brought to their manufacturing processes. Jamey, what's a client that kind of sticks in your mind as someone, a real success story, someone that kind of discovered what Dynamics was missing and how Vicinity filled that missing ingredient?
The biggest thing has been on an available to promise solution with regards to knowing when they can meet their customer demand or what they need to do differently in production to either focus on this product or that. So it's really been the pieces of taking, okay, here's what the demand is, whether it might be a forecast or a sales order, saying, okay, here's where you're short, here's what you need to make, and then what you need to purchase. So that's been a great success story with regards to making the customer more efficient from a customer service standpoint, which is handled it within Dynamics. So we can say, okay, here's when it's going to be done. So does it meet the customer demand? Yes or no? Yes. Let's go ahead and proceed to ship when it's scheduled.
Yeah, that's a big win.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone stick out in your brain?
Yeah. So Allagash Brewing, a client of ours. So one thing that they had asked us to do, and now this is available. So you've got your lot trace inquiry, which is a common thing in process manufacturers. Hey, this raw material, where was it used? That's standard code for us. Same with on a finished good, going down, what went into it. One thing that we did for Allagash that again is now out there is from a quality trace. So we always say your lot tracing isn't just, hey, here's the material that was used. Show me all the quality steps that went in. So they're able to go in and put in a finished good batch and trace downward to see, hey, here's the 3 or 4 different batches. And here's all the QC testing that we did from a raw material, from a batch process, because there's a lot of things that come into play. It's not just a matter of this raw material went in here. Here was the other testing. Here was the specifications. So that's something easily that they're able to do. That helped them significantly, being able to see, okay, hey, from a finished good standpoint, what's everything that went into it, even from that beer that we all drink all the way down to the specific hop and grain to see, what was the pH of this, what was the alpha acids, whatever that they need, be able to get that information.
I have to be honest, I've always wondered if your team gets to go to all the breweries and taste the beers as part of your process.
It's
We'd love to.
Trade secret. We're not allowed to.
Have you had some clients that have been able to share with you any specific ROI or, efficiency gains that they've gotten after using Vicinity?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to put that into numbers, but a lot of time it is an efficiency because again, going back to that example of we're used to doing it in Excel, and I've got to transmit everything. Someone's got to come back and put it in Excel, and then translate that to the accounting team, and someone put that in. Just the hours that they've saved of being able to go into one system and put it in. Hey, here's what we consumed. Here's what we made. Press a button that immediately goes to the ERP, and they can ship that. So you couldn't really quantify the hours of it. They've just said, hey, just how much time we have saved. We no longer are waiting for this person Tuesday morning to go in and enter Monday's production. I can now ship that Monday afternoon.
So if you're working with process manufacturers, formulas, breweries, chemicals, there must be a lot of compliance, tracing, lot tracking, traceability issues that you have to deal with. How does Vicinity help with that? Or is there a use case that comes to mind of someone you helped with that?
Yeah, so let's take we're going to skip off of food for a moment. For a lot of our paint companies, our chemical companies, it's very common to create an SDS, a safety data sheet, which is a global thing, right? When you get that chemical, you've got to know, hey, here's all the handling instructions. They can track that information when they receive the chemical, the raw material, they can put that in. Also, they have to generate these safety data sheets. So you're able to generate it through our system. Or one of the things that I think we pride ourselves on is the whole idea where the name Vicinity came from. We're in the vicinity of other applications. We integrate with a few different SDS authoring tools. So basically, we've written code where you'll push our formulas that from Vicinity out to their system, and they'll go ahead and generate those SDS. Some clients really like that because, hey, that's another company that's handling the regulatory information. Others like to handle it in-house. You've got the different options of you can do it. But yeah, I mean, with those regulations constantly changing, it's easy to go and put that information in, and we can handle that within the city.
So obviously here at the Community Summit Show, we are we have a lot of users, but we also have a lot of partners coming together. How do you work directly with partners to make them give their customers a better experience to kind of deliver that complete solution?
So from a partner's perspective, if Vicinity's brought in, then we handle our implementation so they can focus on the dynamics piece, so standing up accounting and distribution. And Vicinity is able to work in parallel with them with regards to getting the formulas or recipes set up and the batch tickets set up. So at some point, then it's ready to go live. So they're able to have accounting and distribution ready. We're able to have production ready. So the go live date is very seamless, right? Because we've handled our part, we're ready to go. They've handled their part, and the customer wins because they've had the expertise from the partner and the expertise from Vicinity to get them over the hump to go live with a full batch processing solution integrated in with Dynamics.
Yeah, I think when we work with partners, the idea is let us be the experts of what we know. Let you be the expert of what you know. We work together. We're on the same team. At the end of the day, we want our client happy. We all do. It works very well. We've got a lot of different partners that we work with. We've had great success.
Yep.
Again, like I said, we're all on the same team.
Right.
So it's like you do what you do well. We'll do what we do well. You don't have to learn. It's always good for them to know, hey, here's how the integration points, and we make sure that our partners know that, because again, they're gonna field questions just like we're gonna field questions. And we know BC and GP very well, but we always tell our clients, hey, we're gonna stay in our lane. That we don't want to supersede anything, and it works well. I mean, we working together and.
So along those lines of asking questions, I think there's a lot of Dynamics partners out there that are good at discrete manufacturing, but process manufacturing is its own big animal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So what kinds of questions would maybe a partner ask to identify that a company really needs to bring in a process manufacturing experts?
I think the simplest thing, I mean, like I get asked all the time by friends who know no difference between discrete and batch. When they ask me what I do, I say, okay, the simplest thing is like if I tell people it's process, can you can you break it apart? Think of a cookie. You can't take a baked cookie and dismantle it and hey, here's my bag of sugar, my bag of wheat, my chocolate chips. You can't. Discrete, you can. I could take this table apart. I mean, I personally probably couldn't, but someone could take this table apart and you've got all the parts to it. And that's the simplest way of looking at it.
Great. How do you see Vicinity's role evolving as more and more customers move to Dynamics 365 Business Central?
Again, we've stayed, Vicinity into the exterior of the ERP, right? So again, we continue to focus on our product, provide more integration within BC to provide an available to promise, more item detail with regards to availability. So it's been a good opportunity for us to build some additional tools within BC, but still keeping our core product and our customers being able to take advantage of what we've been doing for 25 years.
So obviously we're at Community Summit right now. Why do you feel this event is valuable, both for your team, also maybe your customers that you invite to come with you?
I think for us, it's just staying present. And people know, hey, we're here, but also talking to other partners. What are they doing? Technology is always changing. Seeing how they're changing with technology, but also as there's new partners coming in, various ways that we can integrate with them. And I think also like just having conversations. We've had conversations with companies that our manufacturing companies, the partners that are discrete, and it's good just kind of talking through, hey, what are the different ways that you're doing your projects and how are you working within the channel? I think that's very helpful to us as far as customers that come. I think it's them getting that exposure because not, in fairness, not every partner knows or, hey, here's an option for process and seeing it. Okay, hey, here's an option for that they can present to their customers. They could grow their business because if they're staying in, hey, here's this lane of these type of customers that we're focusing on. They're seeing
Great. So to conclude, I'll put you on the spot. What is one sentence you would use to maybe sum up the value of Vicinity to Dynamics users? We'll see if you can come up with a better sentence here.
I mean, you get to work with me. That's
You get to work with
you
Steve.
get to work with me.
Yeah, that's
Not just me, but
no brainer.
yeah.
The whole Vicinity team.
Yeah.
It's just the dedication that we have to the product, and again, our longevity speaks tremendously of what we've been able to do. Technical support takes care. So one sentence, holy. I missed the whole one sentence part. Scratch.
That was good. In 3 sentences. That's good. Steve, what do you say? What do you want people to remember about you?
Well, I just think we just continue to grow with our customers. So like when we have customers that come in and say, we want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, we'll see what we can do to make that work. So that's not one sentence.
No.
We do not listen to the one
No,
sentence.
yeah.
That's what
we got so much to say.
Don't let that be the takeaway.
They don't follow directions.
No.
Thank you very much for doing the
You're
interview.
welcome.
Thank you for being ERP Software Blog members, putting your great content
course.
on our site. And I look forward to seeing you around Community Summit.
Thanks, Anya.
Thank you, Anya.